Number 9, Scout the Statline third baseman of 2024, Sal Stewart. Peak projections coming in at 114.7 WRC plus, a 260 batting average, on base percentage of 349, slug at 423, home runs 17, stolen bases 10, a walk percentage of 11, K percentage of 18. Doc, we have a super sleeper. What do you think?
Yeah, I've liked him for a while. It seems like he must be old now. He's 21. He just turned 21 and been hanging out at high A too long. Please promote him. I think we're on the verge of seeing Sal Stewart. There's a freakish way that we could see him at the end of next season if enough injuries happen. But I'd say more if a strong season happens at Double A, probably gets moved up to Triple A, and then maybe coming out of spring training next year, he can work for battle for a spot on the major league roster. He's got like weird power, right? Like not a lot of it, but it's not nothing either. We're not sure. He's kind of 6'1", 215. He's this chunky Italian dude. He's the most Italian guy in the world. Whenever I see Sal Stewart's face and his name,
Very
it's
Italian.
fun. Old Sal, like he could easily be. And I think Ohio does, like Cincinnati has a Cincinnati chili with like noodles. Maybe there's some Italian there. I don't know. I'm just like, I know Cincinnati chili. You ever had Cincinnati chili?
No, but the Midwest has a chain that I remember in Milwaukee. That
Skyline.
Is that what it is?
That's one of them. Skyline
Yeah,
chili.
and it's odd because like it's a very Midwest thing. Like if you think about, I guess maybe East Coast too, but you wouldn't find a chili chain on the West Coast anywhere. I could be wrong, but maybe there's some endorsement opportunity for Sal.
Bro, so what did I just say? I said I'm gonna tell Scott to follow me back, and so he said he had made a joke on my email. He said I should hire you as my draft coordinator because I'm bringing all these guys in. I said my agent says you can start by following me back on X. At CBS Scott White followed you back. Now I have to watch what I say. No, he's a cool guy. Okay, so we've talked a lot about Scott White and Caleb Durbin today. Ironically, he's the only other guy who's got Durbin in his top 100. But Sal Stewart, people are kind of sleeping on him. He was a first-round pick. And, dude, this is going to be the most annoying thing for you to chop up for X. You're going to chop up the Sal Stewart clip now with all this banter we're doing. Or maybe just let it all hang.
We're going to let it hang, and we're going to tag Scott White,
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so, yeah, man, he's a great asset for the industry. Here's the interesting thing about contact versus average. I frankly, you can eyeball it, and I still like to. If I see a guy doing 300, I know he's got good contact numbers. Versus Nolan Gorman doing 200, I know he doesn't. So Stewart though, this is kind of intriguing. Like just when a guy like Stewart feels like he's almost stagnating at high A, you see 2023 2 home runs. And it's 29 games, but 291 batting average, 397 OBP. Then 2024, you see 8 home runs in 80 games. Also, stop getting hurt. That would be great. And then 279 batting average and 391 OBP. So like the average goes down a little bit, right? And you're like, okay, well, that would be a good time to dig into the underlying numbers. And you see he actually went up from a 78% contact rate to 83. It's really good. So he's making strides. He's improving. It seems like he's probably going to be kind of a boring asset. I'm trying to think of who he could be. Where he's not going to run. He's going to take a walk. We might be looking though at like 50. Like it's probably like a 18 to 20 home run guy. Maybe he's Ryan Mountcastle, but takes walks with like 10% less power.
I mean,
that seems like I'm stretching Ryan Mountcastle there. But Ryan Mountcastle is kind of a boring guy. So I think it's something like that.
It's interesting because the profile that got me so excited post 2023 was the 16% walk rate to the 15% K rate. He had walked more than he struck out. And that was incredible for, I think at the time, a 19-year-old. This season, a little bit changed, as you mentioned, right? 17% K rate to a 15% walk rate. Like, oh, how egregious. I've always, I guess I've said now for a year, if he can just develop that power that you talked about, if this can be a 20 home run profile player with that discipline and that eye, we're talking about a very, very, very elite level categories player outside of the big boys, because he's going to protect your ratios across the board on a regular basis. I would say probably career upside, maybe touches top 10 at third base, maybe even a little bit better. But I think we have a very solid floor, probably a top 15 third baseman for 4 or 5 years once he makes the major leagues. But the power has to develop, right? 2023, we saw 12 home runs across 117 games. In 24, we saw 8 in 80. So this season is a really important year. I think projectably, what do you think? Starts at AA probably in 2025? I think that's fair, right?
Yeah, he said after unmuting himself. Um, that's so cool. I was trying to cut you off, and usually I'm successful with that. And then I felt bad because you actually I realized so I tried to cut you off, and then I went and I stopped because you were on a really good run, and I felt awful. But then I seen here that I was actually muted, so it all worked out. And
This
now
is
we
gonna be
can.
our best clip on X. Everyone's just gonna be watching this like these two are complete idiots.
Well, dude, yeah, it's funny because I think sometimes I start thinking, oh, we're late in the podcast. Okay, well, if anyone's still listening, they want to hear some banter, anyways. Keep them into it. But then I forget. Oh yeah, this one gets chopped up and
Listen,
put
if
everywhere.
anything, we're entertaining.
Yeah,
That's the goal, right?
exactly. We're unique, folks. So what I was gonna say actually is correct. The power is everything here in terms of this guy who's not running, kind of boring profile. It's a ratio machine. Well, what better place to play than the Cincinnati Great American Ballpark Bandbox? So he could go like if you had him in like Seattle, dude, this could be like a 10 to 15 home run profile.
Yep.
Not good. This he could actually get he could yank 25
Yep.
just from being in Cincinnati. And I don't think he's like actually a 25 home run power guy as of right now, but he's still young. And when you just have the great contact ability, that big kind of chunky frame, when you're eating that, chicken parmigiana, and when you're eating that pasta every day, every night before a big game, the way that I don't know enough about Italians to keep going with stereotypes, but what would they call their grandma? Their nonna? The nonna, right? Like
You know better
nonna
than I
used
do.
to
I have no idea.
like yeah, I actually had a lot of Italian friends growing up, so it's coming back to me. The nonna, they had their nonna make some chicken parmesan, and then he
I
goes out and
actually had
mashes
chicken
25.
parmesan last night. It was delicious.
Yeah, so chicken parm. That was the whole thing with Anthony Volpe. Did you ever hear about that?
No.
So Volpe was not doing well, and then last year, remember when he became really good? So it leaked out in the New York media that Austin Wells like had something about Austin Wells
Cooking chicken parmesan
made
for him.
parmesan or somehow like got Volpe eating chicken parm, and then like the whole fan base ran with it and like, oh dude, get back to that chicken parm. So it's just the most ridiculous thing in the whole world. Again, folks, Sal Stewart, the Godfather. Dude, if he becomes good, he's the Godfather. That'd be a great nickname.
That'd be a great nickname. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we were talking about what to nickname Sal Stewart. Yeah, the Godfather. We're rolling with that. All right, folks, this is the greatest clip of all time.
Yeah, I mean, at least we have a nickname for him. We can. I don't know that we'll be allowed to trademark that. The actual movie franchise slash book may have an issue with it, but I love Sal. Right? I think what you said was perfect, and we'll move on after that. But again, we've talked about a number of these guys today that are young. Luke Adams, 20. Enmanuel Tejeda, 19. Even Nacho at 21. Bitonti under 20. Sal Stewart. Like we have a good group, even though it's a really, really shallow third base prospect rankings where I think we could see some of these guys, if they take a step forward, really start to refill that group. And the price point on a lot of them is not where I think it will be in a year's time from now. So Sal's, in my opinion, out of all the younger guys, he's the safest. Would you agree with that?
Repeat it again. Repeat that premise again.
If we put Sal Stewart, Bitonti, Tejada, and Adams, all guys either 20 or younger in like the same group, I think Stewart is probably the safest to be a major league player in general, but also starter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not familiar with his defense, so that'll be interesting.
Yes.
But I'm seeing his fielding logs here. Interestingly enough, are you aware that he plays a lot of second base?
I am, and I put him on third because when you look at the organization, they have like
Mhm.
15 second basemen.